You know, it's when you see them, you know, either pissed off or gutted or down. It's upsetting, you know. Go on, let it out. Vent. Come on.
Each night I pray, I don't wake up. I give my love to which you could. Each night I pray, I don't wake up. I give my love to which you could.
We hope you all good folk have been enjoying this show so far. We're straying slightly from the regular programming this week with a very special story just for you. A story that begins with a long journey in the big 10 cylinders over the Atlantic to the land of the free.
I don't think you quite understand how hot it is right now.
Sit back, pull up a chair, grab yourself a cold beer and relax. It's time for the FMD Steel Horse Riders to visit my home, the US of A. The gang finally touched down, and boy oh boy did America give them a hero's welcome, except for Elliot, whose mishaps seemed to follow the poor blue belly.
The question should be, why aren't I wearing this shirt? Because it's absolutely incredible. America. But also American Airlines lost my luggage, so I have to buy some stuff, and this is the first thing I bought.
After the longest days in the saddle, there's nothing like reaching the ranch to call it a night. Except there was no rest for these mavericks, as these gunslingers couldn't resist a good old-fashioned shoot-off.
By the way, it's still a waste.
Chaos had been let loose, both figuratively and literally.
Fuck!
We all got pieces of craziness, but the FMD team just have bigger pieces than others.
I'm going to the skid pad.
Look at the camera.
On the camera!
Get in the mood.
Yeah, it's going to be, yeah. The nice way to say it, it's going to be moist. I think the less polite way to say it is it's going to be absolutely fucked. Rumour is, I've never really ridden here in the wet, but the rumour is that it's unrideable, pretty much. She's slick. The dirt's not the best. The dirt or the rocks are not particularly grippy.
So everything's going to be slidey all over the place.
Yeah, it'd be super slow.
Let me tell you, mountain biking is a fickle sport. Sometimes you have days that you wish would never end in the saddle. Other days are so ugly, they could bluff a buzzard off a meat wagon.
It's going to be a heavy track walk, boys.
This time in Snowshoe, West Virginia was one of these times, setting up for a race that even the devil would have scorned at.
Going Snowshoe, just like how like chilled out everything is. Like, there's not too much people about. It's kind of like weird. I feel like you're going to get abducted by aliens.
Yeah, like weather was like super bad. Like rained pretty much every day, all day. You never ride your best in that sort of conditions because you can't hit everything perfectly. Like your bike's doing everything, going over the place. Probably the hardest track I rode all year, just because of how like slippery and like technical it was.
On the flip side of things, one of our heroes, slim shooting Dennis Luffman, was back at the reins after taking a fall from his steel horse, but it wasn't quite the welcome back to the trail he was hoping on.
So going into America and Canada was, yeah, it was tough for Den. It was massive, and he was hurting through Snowshoe.
When I did turn up to Snowshoe, the wrist definitely was not fully better, yeah, I tried to just get to it. And it was a big struggle that week. I had no confidence.
He was coming down to the end of the runs, not able to open the hand because his wrist was just so sore. He was crashing out at times, but purposely hiding his wrist away from when he would crash, not to hurt it again, and just taking impact to the body. You know, he was working for it, and it was tough for him.
Meanwhile, it was apparent that all of our heroes were not finding it easy out there. The conditions were so mean that it made an ordinary race look like a prayer meeting. For Tony, the cow boss, it was even harder to watch on as the week that was fell to the wayside.
When you're waiting there at the bottom, you are just thinking, you kind of think in one section at a time. You know, that's where our sport is dictated by time. You're waiting for those splits to come up, and first of all you're waiting for them to go through the split safely. If they go through the split down, then obviously your heart sinks, but your heart sinks for them because you know they've had some kind of incident or something's gone wrong. There's a lot of process going on. You know, Kaos crashed and then was just coming back.
The synopsis of the seeding run is the hardest run of her life / year. So I think just between how sticky it is, how slow it is, how hard you have to pump the ground and work anyway, and just how crazy physical riding in the deep mud like that is, yeah, as physical as downhill gets, I think.
Things have gone sideways for Phoebe Gale. She was up and turned to red. Look at this wheel. Ouch.
I must admit, I think Phoebe's one felt all the pressures going into finals, which is why what might have happened to her happened to her.
The worst I rode in a race run ever, I think, which sucks. Crashed 4 times, and I've never done that. Just pushed too hard, and then everything just kind of went shit.
Go on, let it out. Come on.
And that's probably the worst I've felt. Felt fucking dreadful, really. What the fuck just happened? I haven't crashed all week. What the fuck? I just wanna get out of here, actually. It annoys me. I don't know what to do.
There's nothing you can do.
Can you laugh?
Learn from it, dude.
Yeah, but, you know.
Lady Luck really had other plans for our heroes, resulting in one of the worst weeks of their riding lives. They all learned the hard way that sometimes you get and sometimes you get got.
Walking out that door.
Defeated, beaten, bruised, they decided to pack their wagons and hit the road.
Talk to myself in the morning anymore.
Now we just wait for the other ones that arrive, and then boom, we are done. After a tough week in Snowshoe, I think basically what we had to do is we had to just pull it all back together again. Really, you have to, like, you know, super glue the edges, and you know the pot's broken and we've got to get it all back. So, and it's finding the super glue, it's finding what you can do to do that.
There was definitely something that went wrong, and Snowshoe was a bit of a shit week.
We had a good team chat after Snowshoe. Like, I think the whole team had a pretty low week, really.
Riders make their points known, staff make their points known. Everyone just talks it out, and then that means that we can actually all get on and do what everyone expects and wants from each other. Sometimes though, it does just take a big blow up for everything to be talked about and sorted out, which is a bit annoying, but
There was a lot to think on from the week that was as ugly as a burnt boot. And where else to contemplate the week to come than a round of the gentleman's game?
It's been one hell of a journey, put it that way. Last weekend, Phoebe's learned a massive lesson last weekend. Absolutely massive. So yeah, walking away from Snow, I was kind of over it, to be honest with you. And obviously I shouldn't be, and it's onwards and upwards and go to the next one. But you know, when you put so much effort into getting them out there.
Oh my God, Toad, that was amazing.
What makes you believe you come back to the UK ahead of me?
A smile back on Kaos's face, then qualifying, and Phoebe winning. And I don't think that's too much to ask, really, considering how they've all been riding. That's not a big ask. I don't want to do this if you're not having fun. And as long as everyone's smiling, then it makes the whole team better, and it makes me better. You know, it's when you see them, you know, either pissed off or gutted or down. It's upsetting, you know, especially as, you know, I know how much effort I put in, I know how much effort most of them put in, you know, so yeah, I think that would just make me really happy.
Once they hop the border over to the land of the maple, they hit the reset button and hit their stride just that little bit more.
Who was that, Phoebe?
That was my mechanic. Proper positive. House was sick. Like, everyone's in good vibes, like doing like touristy stuff.
With this reset in the scenery, things were on the up. In new country, with new prospects, grins like a weasel in a henhouse started to appear on these gunslingers' weary faces.
Oh, you cheat!
Another round won't save you now.
Make that pass for it. Brilliant.
Definitely a bug in my head. It's been buzzing in my ear.
Can anybody take a picture of her?
I'm excited to ride.
I used to see it like sat at home watching on the TV, on the edge of the sofa. Like.
You'll never break a horse if you stay sitting on the fence. So the FMD crew got off that fence and jumped back in the saddle.
And I got ready for tomorrow. Woo! Yee! Wee! I'm so tired.
An old Western fable says, life is not about how fast you run or how high you climb, but how well you bounce. And this pack of mavericks bounced back higher than a bucking bull. For cow boss Tony, every finish line is a square dance with anxiety. But for this race in particular, Tony was like popcorn on a hot stove.
Should be pretty breezy, I'm hoping.
The team didn't travel this far around the globe to come home with no spoils at all. The fateful time was here. It all comes down to this: 4 minutes that can determine a whole week of mud, blood, guts, and glory for the gang. Although the vibe was at an all-time high, would this convert to a result the gang were going to write home about?
Go on!
You bet your butt it did. The The stars finally aligned for the FMD Steel Horse riders, and they got a taste of the sweet success they can look back at when they're older and enjoy for a second time.
That feels so fucking
Alors,
good. Like, so good.
C'est confirmé. Gracie Hamstring conservant donc.
I tried to do my job a bit.
You've done your job, don't worry about that. Like, when it comes together, it's so good. Like, so good. You see what they've worked towards, and you see what they want. It's fucking amazing. It's just the biggest buzz ever.
For Tony, on this trip to this fabled land, he learned more than ever that good judgment comes from experience, and a lot of it comes from bad judgment.
Exactly what I wanted, really. I mean, I couldn't have asked for much more today. Obviously, Kaos's puncher was a bit shit yesterday. Like, and you saw it. I think you saw it on the screen that he was actually happier in his riding. So I felt as though he could have done well today. Then again, we just wanted him to get through, wanted him to qualify to boost his confidence, and he's done that. And then just ride how he, how he felt comfortable today, because he's still on the mend. And then obviously Phoebe's has just smashed it out of the ballpark. Yeah, I'm really fucking happy. Actually, stoked for the weekend.
I think we can all learn from the FMD commenteros. There's a whole lot more to riding a horse than sitting in the saddle and letting your feet hang down. That sometimes, when you get bucked off your Bronco, you need to hit a few balls, have a laugh with your buddies, and really get back to why you got into this whole game in the first place.
I reckon that was a race week extremely well managed by a very young lady who's got a very bright future ahead of her. Simple as that.
That's all I got, folks. Make sure to keep those beers cool, the jump steady, and the vibes high. That was the story of FMD Racing in North America, and this is how we roll. There's an event that all steel horse riders dream of reaching one day, a race where the stakes are higher, the pressure greater, and the bikes, well, they just look epic. This was the world champs of Leggett.
You guys are still here? Well, I may as well tell you about this bad thing. This is the custom Howie Roll Canyon Spectral CS7. It's a medium, it's pink, and it's insane. To win this beast, all you have to do is subscribe to the Canyon YouTube channel and comment under any of the Howie Roll episodes. Entries close on the 20th of January 2023, and you only have the chance to enter once. And the full terms and conditions, they're just below. And by the way, if you guys don't enter, I'll happily keep it.
You're right. Yeah.